The LA Chargers have done nothing but disrespect the Raiders. Justin Herbert conveniently leaves Derek Carr's name off the list of AFC West quarterbacks.
If we want to be the team that we want to be, you have to go through teams like that, and you have to play the Patrick Mahomes, the Russell Wilsons.
We all know the crap Joey Bosa talked on Derek Carr last year, trying to say that he's soft.
We knew once we hit him a few times, he really gets shook, and you saw on CC's sack, he was pretty much curling into a ball before we even got back there. But we know once you get pressure on him, he kind of shuts down, and he's not as effective with the crowded pocket. So that was the key to it.
Joey Bosa was even asked to clarify what he meant about Carr, and he doubled down.
I was just pointing out something that I noticed when he gets pressure, he seems to shut down a little bit. Like it seems like a lot of quarterbacks do that with pressure in their face. But I was just pointing something out that you could easily look up and see. And I wouldn't really like somebody that plants their shoulder into me for a living, so I don't see how he would really like me. I wouldn't if I was him. So
and you know our guy Derek Carr's a gentleman, and he's gonna respond the right way.
I love Joey, and he knows that. We've gone back and forth. He was probably mad because I was talking a lot of crap to him during the game. It was an emotional day for them. I saw a lot of things about their whole team after. He's entitled to that opinion, but it's almost like he watched the game in reverse. The game that I watched, we came out and fought a little bit after they got after us a little bit up front, and he's entitled to say that. He's a great player, great dude. I just don't think he watched the game in the same order I did. I just thought it was unfortunate that he'd even think to say it. Maybe he's just trying to get under my skin, which he did piss me off, so good job for that.
And the head coach of the Chargers, Staley, even had the nerve to not give the Raiders credit, blaming penalties, PI calls for them getting knocked out of playoff contention.
The penalties obviously were a big factor in the game. He throws a pass really far out of the end zone, and we get called for a PI, and so that dramatically changed the momentum. We had 14-10. We were playing really well.
Hey, yo, pause. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the Raiders Rundown for more content. Brandon Staley was even crying, saying that he's upset that his players aren't able to compete in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's why I hate that we're not in the tournament, because he's one of the best players in the NFL, and I hate that he's not in the tournament competing against the best players in the NFL. And I hate it for him. Hate it for Derwin, Keenan.
Yeah, bro, if they're really that good, they'd be in the playoffs. They wouldn't have to rely on a tie. In week 18 of last season, Justin Herbert definitely wanted a tie, and the Chargers got sent home packing. Joey Bosa wasn't able to celebrate and talk crap then. And Derek Carr and the Raiders were able to make the playoffs. Josh Jacobs had his best game of the 2022 season, and Max Crosby was able to go off, getting pressure on Justin Herbert. And now the Chargers and the Raiders will face off this Sunday in a critical AFC West matchup. We all know there's been an arms race around the AFC West. Teams have been stacking up with talent, besides the Chiefs, of course, because they lost Tyreek Hill. But already in week 1, we know this game will have playoff implications. The Raiders have gone 1-for-1 with the Chargers each of the last 2 seasons. Derek Carr is starting this season with some of the best weapons he's ever had in his career. The question ahead of the game is, will JC Jackson be able to make it to week 1? We know he's recovering from surgery, and Brandon Staley seems optimistic that the guy could come back week 1. He's day to day. If JC Jackson is not able to make the game, the Chargers will have to rely on Michael Davis, who has some experience getting smoked by Hunter Renfrow. They'll also have to face off against Devontae Adams, Mac Hollins, and Tyron Johnson, and also DJ Turner, who will help complete the Raiders wide receiver room. The Chargers will be relying heavily on Bryce Callahan and also Asante Samuel Jr. But if you're looking at this matchup between these cornerbacks and these wide receivers, even with JC Jackson, you gotta give the Raiders the upper hand. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, and Tillery will be trying to put some pressure on Derek Carr. And we know the Raiders' offensive line is in flux, mainly the right side and the right tackle position. Can Jermaine Illuminor or perhaps even Thayer Mumford Jr. step up to fend off these edge rushers? The Chargers have given Khalil Mack a decent amount of money, but the guy is getting up there in age, and I believe the Bears shipped him out for a reason. The Raiders will likely look to slow down this pass rush by getting the ball out of Derek Carr's hands quickly, and also relying on some of these halfback screen plays that Josh McDaniels loves to run. Derwin James will be set to go against Darren Waller, and I don't think he's going to be able to handle that smoke, bro. But Derwin James is technically the 20th best player according to NFL Top 100. Let's see if he can live up to all that hype going up against Darren Waller, who's set to get a new contract with the Las Vegas Raiders. And the linebackers for the Chargers have not lived up to the hype. Kenneth Murray Jr. has been a disappointment, so they're going to rely on Kyle Van Noy, this old dude who has some experience with the Patriots, and also Drew Tranquill to try to stop Josh Jacobs, this running back committee, Zamir White, Brandon Bolden and Amir Abdullah, it's going to be a tough day for them. But the Chargers do have a decent offense. Justin Herbert will be relying on Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, who signed a new contract recently, and Gerald Everett, the former Ram, to be the tight end replacing Jared Cook. The problem for the Chargers is they only have Joshua Palmer and Guyton behind these two wide receivers, not much depth behind the top two, and their right tackle position is still a question mark with Pipkins. They definitely don't want to start Storm Norton like they did last year because Max Crosby had a field day with this guy. And Chandler Jones is also going to be in the mix as well. And keep in mind, the Raiders do have Deshaun Bauer and Malcolm Kuntz, giving some quality depth to these edge rushers. I don't think Rashawn Slater is going to be able to handle this. And Justin Herbert's numbers are high because the Chargers are one-dimensional. They've had no run game with Eckler in the mix. They're going to rely on Miami Dolphins leftovers, Sony Michel, to try to give them some semblance of any kind of run game. We know Austin Eckler is that type of guy who could only be a pass-catching running back, not a guy who could run inside. So Jonathan Abram will have to continue to be that threat in the run game, and we'll see how he can cover tight ends like Everett. Meanwhile, the Raiders also have Divine Diablo, Pro Bowler Denzel Perryman at the linebacker position, so it's going to be a tough day running the ball or throwing in the middle of the field for the Chargers. The biggest question lies within the Raiders secondary. We know Trayvon Merrick and Nate Hobbs are going to come through and ball out. The question is, will Rock Ya-Sin be able to be a solid corner for us? Will Anthony Averett be enough to fend off Mike Williams and Keenan Allen in this upcoming matchup? If these two cornerbacks can step up, then Justin Herbert's going to have a long day, and he's going to be praying for a tie yet again. And Brandon Staley is going to have to go back to the notepad as he complains and makes excuses for why he lost to the Las Vegas Raiders yet again. Let me know your score prediction for this game. I'm predicting 30-20 Vegas Raiders in their second home, LA. Shout out to you, LA Raider Nation, and let us know if you're a Raiders fan from LA in the comments. My name is WiFiWillie. We'll be live during the game this Sunday. Check us out. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and ring the bell so you get notification. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.